Honorable Senators, I want to now welcome the CS of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management, CS Moses Kuria, and your team. Welcome to the Senate. There is one question only for you from the Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Morango. And this question will be asked on his behalf by Senator Veronica Maina. You can have your seat as CS. Let her ask the question, and then I'll give you the opportunity to give you your reply. Senator Veronica.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I ask this question on behalf of Senator James Morango, Senator for Kirinyaga County. Honorable CS, what criteria is used by the ministry to categorize and gazette areas as hardship zones in the country? And could the Cabinet Secretary state why Mwea constituency in Kirinyaga County has not been gazetted as a hardship zone, considering the adverse conditions in most parts of the constituency? And B, when does the ministry intend to classify Mwea constituency as a hardship area in order to compensate public servants who serve in the region under adverse conditions? Those are the two questions.
CS.
In terms of the criteria used, Honorable Speaker, the first criteria is availability or lack of it of food and accessibility to food. An availability and inaccessibility or otherwise of water, transport and communication service in terms of adequacy, social services, whether they are available or accessible, climate conditions for that particular area, and the terrain harshness of that area, and security or high possibility of security threats in a particular area. And finally, Mr. Speaker, is severity of poverty. Mr. Speaker, Mwea constituency has not been gazetted as a hardship area because the government is addressing the challenges of the existing disparities in designated hardship areas across the public service, and has undertaken a study to review and harmonize the designated hardship areas across the public service. Gazettement of the hardship areas and implementation of the designated hardship areas will be undertaken upon approval by Cabinet, and this matter is currently before Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, as to when the ministry intends to classify Mwea constituency as a hardship area in order to compensate public servants who serve in the region under adverse conditions. Mr. Speaker, the government is addressing the challenges of the existing disparities in designated hardship areas across the public service and has undertaken a study to review the same and harmonize the designated hardship areas across the public service. Gazettement of the hardship areas, implementation of the same is currently under consideration by Cabinet and with guidance from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Start, Mr. Speaker, by congratulating the CS. He has a way of whichever docket he gets, then he shines in it. My question goes in the same note of this National Youth Service, where he pronounced himself that he'll make it a kind of a military outfit. I have some few willing men who would want to do the same. Maybe he can outline that, how he's going, especially in the marginalized areas, to ensure that indeed even youth from there access the services. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you can just make your statement on that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Speaker for Nyeri. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, we have pronounced ourselves on the new direction for the National Youth Service. The re-engineering agenda of the National Youth Service, which we are undertaking, is premised on 4 key pillars. The first pillar is the pillar of paramilitary training and regimentation. This is important because we have to impart on our young people with the right social, patriotic wiring so that they become good citizens capable of driving the country forward. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, currently we have got around 10,000 servicemen and women serving under the paramilitary service within the National Youth Service. By end of this financial year, we are going to recruit 20,000 youths, and then in the year 2024-25, we go to 40,000 youths, 25-26, 60,000 youths, and ultimately get to 100,000 youth by the year 2027. Honorable Speaker, the second pillar, and before even I leave on the first pillar, is on the issue of regimentation. Regimentation, simply put, Mr. Speaker, is that we put these youth under clusters, just like it happens within our disciplined forces of the police force, of the military, so that they can be able to work together and cross-socialize each other with positive behavior and patriotic angling as we prepare them to be better citizens. Honorable Speaker, the second pillar of our engineering agenda within the National Youth Service is what we are calling contribution towards national service. Mr. Speaker, we have a lot of opportunities within government where our youth can be used to offer those services. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, tomorrow we will be in Kitale, in Trans Nzoia County, with the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and our National Youth Service, where we have up to 6,000 acres of maize that is ready for harvesting that would have otherwise gone to waste from the Agricultural Development Corporation and the Kenya Seed Company. 5 million kilograms of seed that would have actually gone to waste. And tomorrow, we will be descending on that particular area with hundreds of youth who are going to harvest that maize, prevent it from going to waste, and therefore save money and time and a lot of resources while actually helping the country to, in terms of food security. As you know, we are coming from a season of very debilitating hunger. The reason I'm giving that example, Mr. Speaker, is just to give you an example of where can you expect to find the green uniform. You'll find them in our farms, doing the farms. You'll find them guarding our offices. You'll find them planting our trees. You'll find them cleaning our markets. You'll find them even in areas that we don't have a lot of experience, like mining and blue economy. We want to engage our youth to offer services to other government departments as part of this national service. The third pillar, Mr. Speaker, we cannot do that unless we impart upon our youth vocational and technical knowledge. So our third pillar is on vocational and technical skills, which we are going to accelerate. We are already doing that to teach them and train them in some of these areas where we expect them to offer national service. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of commercialization of the National Youth Service. Even for our county governments, for our private sector, for our members of parliament, National Assembly through CDF, you can expect that going forward, the National Youth Service, through what we are setting up, National Youth Service Enterprises, is going to offer the same service which private sector is offering. The only difference is that we can get these jobs on a G2G basis with other state corporations, with county governments, with the national government CDF, with the GAF and all other bodies, with international, even going out there, because the issue of youth unemployment is so serious, is so urgent. It is actually the biggest threat we have to our security and our long-term prosperity as a country. And so therefore, the National Youth Service is going to be not the only, but the major catalyst to solving the problem of youth unemployment. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. CS, we are talking about hardship area. You've talked about scarcity of food. I am aware that the National Youth Service own large tracts of land all over Kenya, including Samburu County, and that land is idle. I would want you to appraise this House what plan you have on commercialization of this idle land so that we can help the country in solving the food problem. At the same time, CS, I would want you to tell this House what plans you have for people with disability joining the NYS, because you are only recruiting the able-bodied. And somebody like me, and you know me for a very long time, you cannot recruit me. Thank you.
I'm not sure whether you want to join the National Youth Service or you are talking on behalf of the other young men who are born differently. Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the question from the Honorable nominated Senator George Mugwa. You can expect, Senator, that the biggest farmer in this country will be the National Youth Service. We are going to utilize all our existing land, including the land in Samburu that you've talked about. Tomorrow, because of the partnership that we'll be launching with the Ministry of Agriculture, the Agricultural Development Corporation, Kenya Seed Corporation, we are also going to discuss with them how they will also will release land from them in areas like Garana, Kulalu, and you can expect that the next big provider, supplier of food, of maize for the local market and for the export market is going to be the National Youth Service. Honorable Speaker, we are discussing with the county government to deploy the National Youth Service. We have got counties which have already given us land to do seed propagation within the counties, to move from the current system where our counties, our farmers in the counties are expecting seedlings to be supplied from Nairobi, which I find not acceptable because it's the other way around. We have started with the county of Siaya, where the governor of Siaya has offered 70 acres to start a seed propagation farm in Ugenya constituency for this purpose. Mr. Speaker, we have come from a situation of famine, of hunger, of food scarcity. In my considered opinion, this need not be the case. We need to have some intervention from government to complement what our hard-working farmers are doing. And I want to assure you that on Senator George Bogwa, if I receive your application to join the service, I will give it consideration, given we were together from high school. The only thing is that it's unfortunate that you are past the age of being recruited there. I submit.
I have a follow-up question in terms of the commercialization of the National Youth Service. For purposes of clarity, because it's a question that has been asked, is there a policy that gives a certain percentage to the National Youth Service a priority in terms of national projects? As you have told us that now the National Youth Service is being called upon by KRA, by different other entities of government. But I'm wondering if there's an actual policy that says that a certain percentage, same way we have AGPO, ring-fencing 30% to a certain constituency of enterprises. And another, and actually, CS, the other reason I ask this is we know we as a government, as the Kenya Kwanza government, we have promised to deliver certain things such as 100 dams. And if you look at the cost of using the National Youth Service against the cost of going out to procure services from other commercial entities, we actually save a lot. So if there is a policy, maybe you can highlight that. And then National Youth Service, as it is being commercialized, I suppose that the idea is to make it one of the biggest employers. That way we can deal with the crisis of our youth not having jobs. If that is the case, is there also a policy or some structure in terms of growth within National Youth Service so that, you know, the last opportunity that came about, I was calling upon youth and asking them, there's an opportunity to join National Youth Service, but there seems to be some negative form that National Youth Service doesn't pay well or doesn't pay at all. So maybe that's something that you can also highlight and make us aware if there's growth within the National Youth Service as an employer.
Yes, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the question from nominated Senator Gloria Roba. In terms of the policy for ensuring that we have got some ring-fenced allocation for the National Youth Service in the national service jobs, that policy is currently being worked on by my ministry in conjunction with Treasury and with the guidance from...
Senator, sorry, Honorable CS. Senator Chalage, you know this is not your farm in Nandi. This is the Senate. You cannot just crisscross the way you want. And you are a ranking member in this House. Proceed, Honorable CS.
Honorable Speaker, as I have said, the policy is currently being worked on. We have got a team that is working on both the policy and putting up proper structures for setting up of the NYS enterprises. This effort is being led by none other than His Excellency the President, the Presidential Economic Team, my ministry, and Treasury. As we speak also, we have got a committee of up to 11 principal secretaries that we have set up. Each principal secretary giving us an indication of the jobs available in each state department. We have some early successes in agriculture, as I've mentioned, in irrigation, in the dams, as the Senator has mentioned, in offering security services in our buildings. Really very promising and a very exciting time for our youth. So the policy that we are working on in conjunction with putting up the framework for affirmative action along the lines of AGPO is going to go a long way in ensuring that through the National Youth Service we are able to absorb many more young people, impart them with the right skills, give them some meaningful work, and ultimately release them to the market in a way that they can be able to be more employable, or even to create some entrepreneurs out of them so that they can also employ other young people. Honorable Speaker, on the question of the upward mobility for the National Youth Service, because this is a very pertinent issue. Honorable Speaker, we are working on mobility in several ways. One, already, you remember there was an instance where the Kenya Defense Forces ring-fenced 300 positions to be filled up by graduates or from the National Youth Service, and 10,000 of them turned up for the interview. We require now to bring in police and KDF to maintain security. That was a pointer of some, the situation as it is, and what we are doing now, we are sensitizing people from a security sector to use the National Youth Service as a career progression when they are recruiting. We have had early successes on that. Subject to availability of budget, the National Police Service is going to recruit a cadre of 3,000 policemen and women coming exclusively from the recruits coming from the National Youth Service.
Mine is just is to find out from the CS emanating from this question. In case, because I've seen his response, in case he will gazette which criteria, and I've seen the parameters. Mr. Speaker, you are aware we normally use a Commission of Revenue Allocation formula, and even we pass conditional and additional funds to marginalized wards. For example, here in Kiambu, in Deia, in Kiambu County, should be benefiting from that additional funds, for example. In Nandi, a place like Terik Ward, Chepterway Ward, although in Kapchorwa, Soba Songa, and Chemelil Chemas Ward benefits, but Kapsimat Ward does not benefit. To many people, Nandi County might look that it's a land of honey and milk. So what strategies as the CS, and how long will it take, Mr. Speaker, to classify and ensure all civil servants, including teachers and other government employees, are able to be given hardship allowance, Mr. Speaker, so that they benefit from this process, and also ensure, Mr. Speaker, that they work together, because Senate is a protector of devolution, with the CRA formula, Mr. Speaker.
The question is very pertinent because indeed some of the places that he has mentioned, like Karai Ward and Deya Ward, locations within Kiambu County, and in fact Terik location within Nandi County are in the draft proposal to be included, that is currently undergoing cabinet approval. Mr. Speaker, the good thing is that this draft already has undergone through public participation, so there was comprehensive public participation to be able to get the views of the public, and I also want to fully support what Senator Fernandi has said, that, and I had mentioned it in my opening answer, about the need to harmonize all these formulas. I have a formula because of something called hardship allowance. Somebody else has something called for enhanced allowance. That is the Teacher Service Commission. CRA has got another definition for another purpose. Somebody else has got a definition because of the equalization fund. Somebody else has it because of drought mitigation. So I agree, and I'm going to work with my colleagues within the executive so that you can have one definition that is coherent across all uses, so that you don't have people defining hardship, for their own expediency.
My question to the CS, supplementary question in regard to equal opportunity in public service, is that, Honorable Speaker, we are seeing a trend in recruitment in public service that is worrying and a threat to cohesion of this country. Honorable Speaker, in all the recruitments that have happened recently, we don't see equity in the distribution of the available position, creating a serious frustration in various young people in the country. Honorable Speaker, I would like to know from the CS, Public Service Management, on the recently advertised about 8,000 internship positions through the Public Service Commission, how they are going to be equitably distributed across the country.
Honorable Speaker, indeed the issue of equity and equitability in the distribution of available employment opportunities in the public sector, and in the public service especially, has been a matter of concern. It has been expressed severally, especially in the recent few months, and indeed is an issue that I am seized of. Honorable Speaker, our Constitution vests the mandate of recruitment of public servants with the Public Service Commission. Public Service Commission is an independent constitutional commission, has got the unfettered sole responsibility for this recruitment. We are working very closely with the Public Service Commission to achieve two things primarily. First is to ensure that we have got a fair allocation of all existing positions across the country. Of course, not equally, because there are other considerations, for example, population, that have to be factored in. But to have a formula that is scientific, that is measurable, and that is visible out there, that is coherent, that is defensible, that is understandable. So that one, we want to give that commitment, and I have the commitment of the chairman of the Public Service Commission that that is a risk that we owe this country. We are all public servants, and all of you are under my control. If you have not received your salary, you know, I would be very much interested to know if you have got any welfare problems. All the 900,000 of us who work in the public service are my business. It's a very fulfilling job, knowing that ultimately we work for all other 54 million Kenyans. And I'm trying to transition our public service from being an arena or a source of public employment. A lot of us are saying we are in public service. No, we are just in public employment. We need to transition from being in public employment to being in public service so that you can be able to serve this country better. Honorable Speaker, my docket also includes a State Department for Performance and Delivery Management. Simply put, it is my responsibility. If government is not performing, it is me to be held accountable. If you're not delivering on our projects across whichever ministry, from fisheries to camels, from water to air, wherever they are, performance and delivery are my business. And so therefore, I want to encourage this House to call me many times. If you have any problem with any ministry or state department, then I will do what I must do. Thank you, Honorable Senator. Thank you.
Thank you, CS.